For me, creativity and spirituality have never been that separate. And for a lot of people, they have this space for this kind of development, actualization, meeting of the divine in the world of mysticism and spirituality, but they don't see it in art, right? They view art as entertainment or as a hobby or as a pastime. But anyone who is an artist, who has the soul of an artist, who has dedicated their time to their craft and their expression, knows that it's not that, knows how deep it is, knows how revealing it is, right? And how much of a spiritual process and initiation it is. So when we approach our work from that place, when we choose to, this is not for everyone, but when we choose to be, you know, artists and creators in the pursuit of self-actualization and having those journeys match up, it's a beautiful thing. And when we make that choice, it is really imperative that we stay close to our heart, that we stay connected to our gut and to our inner wisdom and to the things that are unseen and unknown, and we must be willing to do things differently than we've done before. We must stay really, really present, right? Like, it can be so easy to fall into a medium or a style of writing or a particular niche, and then because it's easy, you're making money, you're getting a response, people tell you how good at it you are, you keep on going, and you ignore the signs that it's not alive anymore, that it's not true anymore, that it's not you anymore. And then you start to feel blocked. We start to feel weighed down. We start to feel confused, like we don't know, or like sad, and we can't identify the root of that pain. We start to follow all the shoulds, right? It's like, well, I've made so much success in this way, so I'm going to keep going it this way. Or this coach told me that, so I'm going to keep doing it that way. We forget our voice, right? We can't hear ourselves anymore. So we start to take in all of this information, and we forget to ask ourselves, is this true for me? And we start to feel that density. We start to feel that weight. We start to feel that pressure. We start to feel that lack of inspiration. And when that happens, the only thing to do is to come back to the heart. The only thing to do is to rest in this space and ask yourself, what would love have me create today? What would life have me express today? What would divinity have me offer today? And just come back to that place. It is really, really imperative that for those of us, artists in the pursuit of awakening the human spirit, that we stay connected to that voice, because we don't want to get trapped by egoic desires and egoic limitations. We don't want to fall for shiny object syndrome and follow where that person is finding their success. We are channels for expansion of the human consciousness. So we must keep our fucking channel clean. We must keep our vessel clean. We must stay connected to our center. And that really means prioritizing the practices that help you feel that way. Whether it's meditation, whether it's embodiment practice, whether it's painting, it's very likely an artistic expression. It's very likely some form of creative engagement, conversation, right? Conversation's a big one for me. Some people say, oh, that takes you out of yourself. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to. I get to choose how I engage in this, right? Whether it's, oh my God, renting a house out in the mountains for a month and getting lost in nature, which is exactly what I did. Whether it's immersing yourself in water or taking a hot bath or sitting with a cup of cacao, really, really prioritizing those practices that help you stay really connected to your center and to your core and to your truth, because you are going to encounter, distractions and shiny objects that are seducing you and naysayers that don't believe in you. And so you must return to spaces like this where it is all about just keep going. I don't know where you're going, right? I really don't. I just know you're going somewhere. And in these short little videos, I can't even offer more specific direction, or not even direction, ask you those more specific questions that'll unlock certain things within you, because they're meant to apply for many, many people. But I do know that you need to be surrounded by people that are not going to weigh you down. Like, their energy is not going to weigh you down. They believe in you, they're excited for you, and you need to stay connected to your heart. So I love, if you're feeling any kind of weight, any kind of density, any kind of just like confusion and lost in the fog, I urge you to come back to your heart, to create from the heart. What does that mean for you, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. Let it be doodles on the edge of your notebook. Let it be, wild, like crazy expressive dancing when you've been trained in ballet your whole life, right? Come back to clay and dirty hands and collage and glue and hula hoops and freaking poi, and the things that bring your heart, your aliveness back online, and let that thing be the thing that leads you. Because you know what happens when you create from the heart? You create medicine. When you create from the heart, not only in that process are you creating exactly what you need in order to evolve, in order to meet yourself more deeply, in order to expand your nervous system capacity, in order to expand your consciousness, you're also creating something that someone else will be able to engage with in a way that provides them those same things, right? Like, this is how we begin to create a reality in which we are all mirrors, but intentionally and beautifully and generously. When we create from the heart, we create generously. If you're a business owner, you might have encountered times where you're like, oh, am I providing enough value? What does it mean to provide value? Fuck that. Come back to the heart and create from there, right? Because when you're really in your heart, you're not worried about, well, is someone going to steal this? Are people going to take advantage of this? How much is this going to cost? Like, if I added an extra $100, does that make the value equivalent? No, you're connected to that voice of God, that voice of divinity, and that's never going to lead you wrong. And it's going to open you rather than collapsing you. So today, the reminder, the push, the cheer is to just come back to the heart, baby. Is to just come back to that place. Y'all, when I was in 5th grade, the high schoolers had a cheerleading team. Like, they didn't anymore. I used to have a cheerleading team. And I found the costumes in the drama department, and I decided we absolutely needed a cheerleading team. And my mom wasn't working that year. There were like a couple years she took off in elementary school. And I roped her into being our coach, our cheerleading coach, because she did like gymnastics and sports when she was younger. And then she would come to our class, to a school during our lunchtime, like sign us out, me and like my 5 friends. And we would put on our little costumes and we'd have cheerleading practice in the upstairs of the gym. And that was me just honoring that voice of my heart, right? Like, in that moment, I could, right now, what did that bring me closer to? That brought me closer to my visionary, my leader, the one that, just wants to create and have fun, one that asks for help, the one that sees discarded items and sees where there's potential for new life, right? If you go back through all of your life, you can choose to view your life through this lens, right? You can choose to view your entire life through the lens of one giant creative act and offering. And if it stems from the heart, then what else? Like, what else is necessary? If it comes from the heart, you're already winning. So when you feel like you're not, when you feel like you're down in the dumps, when you feel like you're losing, come back to the heart and remember that you're already winning and you were never not winning.